Hello and welcome back to Salty Studios, where I will be bringing you some more battle action on Total War Warhammer 2. Of course, I am the heir of Carthage, and I hope you are excited to be here. I've got a fun battle for you today. We're coming up on Warhammer 3 soon, next year, and guess what? That's going to involve plenty of chaos, as the Chaos factions are going to be playing a huge role in the game. So, I was fortunate enough to get some awesome Chaos replays, and I'm going to show you one of them today, involving Archaon, and we'll see just why he may be the EVERCHOSEN. Alright, and here we are on the battlefield, and as I mentioned, it is obviously going to be Chaos involved. They are up against Hexodal here, Lizardmen. They're going to be led by a Slan Mage, and I will show you that army here shortly once we introduce Archaon's army. He has a couple of Forsaken, and remember Forsaken are going to be mid-armor, high-damage dealing, relatively fast, chaos-speaking infantry that are going to do well against lower-armored targets and dish out a lot of damage quickly. The core infantry is chosen with halberds, which chosen with halberds are going to be extremely potent against large targets, and honestly against pretty much any Lizardmen infantry, even up against the Temple Guards. I think they should do quite well. Archaon is here. He has the Burning Head, he's got the Piercing Bolts of Burning and the Flaming Sword of Ruin, as well as the Slayer of Kings and Stand or Die, which is going to give him some very potent melee capabilities. He's got an Exalted Hero on a Manticore for some extra mobile support. And the battle is getting underway. I'm going to slow it down for just a moment, show you the Saurus Warriors with shields here that have engaged the Forsaken. Now, this is an interesting battle. Saurus Warriors have a little bit lower armor than the Forsaken, but they also cause a lot of damage, but their melee attack is quite a bit lower. They just have better defense than the Forsaken, so it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out, because these are two pretty heavy damage-dealing units here that are squared off against each other, and I haven't seen them square off in a head-to-head in quite a while. Obviously, the Forsaken seem to have hit a lot harder on the charge there, which I'm not surprised. Now, the Slan Mage is a Slan Mage Priest of Life. You can see that Slan Mage here. I'm going to pull up their capabilities so that you'll have it. So we got Shield of the Old Ones, Aura of Quetzal. We're going to have Regrowth and Flesh to Stone, Earth Blood. So that's going to be the abilities that were chosen for the Slan Mage Priest. There is a Bastiladon with Vivification Crystal, so this army has significant healing potential. They've also got a Bastiladon with Solar Engine. There are two Temple Guards, one of which is the Star Chamber Guardians. And then we're going to see a couple of Saurus Spears, one Saurus Spear, one cohort of Sotek, which is an unbreakable red-crested skink infantry. So they're going to have decent AP along with poison. Then there's a couple of skink cohort infantry, one of which has javelins over here. We do have the Pop cohort, or a mobile component for the Lizardmen. And then we're also going to have some chameleon skinks here, supporting the right flank. That's a nice support unit, I think, to put in with the Pop cohort. Now, as for the remainder of Archaon's army, I guess somewhat in theme here, he's got some Knights with Lances. Now, Knights with Lances are going to be, they're going to hit extremely hard on the charge. They've got pretty good melee attack as well, very solid armor. Their melee defense is not fantastic, but they do come with a shield, which helps them with a little bit of missile resist. So again, they're going to hit very, very hard on a charge, although they're not specifically an armor-piercing unit like some cavalry are in the game, such as the Pop cohort. But that Pop cohort has no prayer against two Knights with Lances. It will just get absolutely overrun. Cold One cavalry in this game is already probably questionable at best in some ways. We are going to see a Temple Guard head-on collision with Chosen, so we're going to see how this one goes. The Chosen are considerably more expensive than the Temple Guard, and I would expect them to outperform the Temple Guard. You can see here the Bastiladon is being chased down by Archaon and more of his Chosen. The Star Chamber Guardians are going to come to its defense with the help of the cohort of Sotek, and I really like the cohort of Sotek coming up against the Chosen with halberds. The melee defense on the Chosen with halberds is pretty high. Their attack is, as typical with halberds, lower than, say, like a sword unit. But they do have very solid defense. But you can see the Star Chamber Guardians here have the Aura of Quetzal, right? Aura of Quetzal, whatever it is right now. Aura of Pretzels, if Air can speak without getting tied into a pretzel. The skink cohort with javelins is getting massacred right now. There is a Saurus Spears with shields headed in to help protect them. The Poison Warhounds help jump in and take out the Pop cohort. And we're going to see the Bastiladon with Solar Engine sit here and try and shoot at the Knights with Lances. That is probably a decent target, though Archaon's going to need some attention. Speaking of attention, he's giving some unwanted attention with the Slayer of Kings, the Slan Mage Priest of Life, and it won't take Archaon long to cut through a target like this. He does big damage, and when he has the Slayer of Kings out, he does ludicrous damage. You know, have you ever seen that scene in Spaceballs where they go to ludicrous speed? That's like his damage. You know, he's going to go straight to plaid when he's got the Slayer of Kings out, and it will be very ugly for any ill-equipped foe who stands in his way. So Slan Daddy gets beat down off his floating throne, and now the only thing that stands between Archaon and killing the Revivification Crystal is a Skink cohort. So it's not looking great. However, the Exalted Hero is now going to be chopped down to size by the Skink cohort here, the cohort of Sotek. These firm believers in the good word of Sotek are busy preaching to the Exalted Hero, and will soon convert him. You may be thinking converting him to the cult of Sotek, but no, they're just going to be converting him into a corpse. That's what they're working on today. However, Archaon has other ideas about this. He's going to drop a burning head all over the cult of Sotek, which does do some damage. However, some of them were not in the path of it, and it does manage to save a significant number of the cohort of Sotek. Let's take a look here. The Chosen versus the Star Chamber Guardians. It's kind of a wash right now. And this other Chosen was able to mostly defeat the Temple Guards, but it got rear-charged by a Saurus Warrior with shields, and it is still fighting. Let's give you an idea of just how tough Chosen are. I do hate that they don't have an immune to psychology with their massive cost, but the Chosen are going to be very, very tanky. Look at that, they routed the Temple Guard, and now they're still fighting the Saurus Warriors. Like I said, a little bit more of a wash between the Star Chamber Guardians than Chosen. Now, their cost is much more close between these units, and, you know, with 9 chevrons, the Temple Guard finally can kind of stand its ground with the Chosen, but as you can see, it's still a rough fight for the Star Chamber Guardians. They need that Saurus Warrior to go ahead and rear charge now. Archaon has been over here at work. He is still cutting apart the Bastillodon with Revivification Crystal. You can see that crystal just went off right there. It's trying to heal cohort of Sotek. Archaon's going to spin up another burning head here. And once again, he's going to deal some nice damage. He's going to get rid of the Skink cohort. You can't easily get rid of the cohort of Sotek, unfortunately for Archaon, fortunately for the Lizards. And we're going to see Archaon continue to really beast this up. However, Archaon is losing his support slowly but surely. He had very small numbers of support, and he is slowly losing those. Look at this. This one did manage to also beat the Saurus Warrior with shields, and then came over here and started fighting a Saurus Spear with shields before it's finally getting close to being routed after being shot by the Chameleon Skinks. The Knights with Lances did some nice work out here as well. They finally succumbed to all the different units that they've had to fight. And here, after the rear charge, the Star Chamber Guardians were finally able to get rid of the Chosen with Halberd, and then the other Chosen with Halberd finally succumbs after defeating, probably 2.5 foes. So, very much superior. Archaon is kind of getting tangled up with the cohort of Sotek. It's not a great unit to get tangled up with. The reason I say that is, this is not a crazy damaging unit, but because it won't rout, they'll just sit there and pick and pick and pick at a Lord, unless that Lord causes massive splash damage, like an SEM. But Archaon doesn't, I don't think, have massive splash damage. He did manage to kill that Revivification Crystal, though, so it's not going to be able to come back from routing. And we can't expect Archaon to kill multiple models with every hit on this red-crested cohort of Sotek here. But, like I said, the longer they're alive, they will chip away at his hit points. He does have very high melee defense, and that's going to help, because the cohort of Sotek's only about 41 melee attack compared to his 60 defense, so they're not going to constantly land hits on him, but with that many models there, and they have him surrounded, they'll get some hits, and Archaon will take some damage. And as versatile as Archaon is, he can't heal, not unless he has a team battle where he can be healed. And we should all be grateful that Archaon can't be healed, because if he could heal himself, holy crap, he would be insanely powerful. I'm very glad that Creative Assembly buffed him. I think his unit was worth buffing, and needed it, because he was kind of a joke sometimes otherwise. We're going to see the Solar Engine here taking shots at him. He is now basically a one-man army. There are some very distant Chaos Marauders that might be coming back into the fight, but at this moment, it It is Archaon versus some Chameleon Skinks, some Saurus Warriors, and some Red-Crested Skinks. So he's going to have to try and deal with all of these units. And at the moment, he's going to charge down the Solar Engine, which I think is appropriate. It can certainly cause some pretty significant damage to him from range. I'm going to back off that fight, turn on the UI here so you all can see what kind of damage he's capable of. He's using the Slayer of Kings again, which has him up at 799 weapon damage. So, and I believe that while he's poisoned, because it would be higher otherwise. You can see just how quickly he starts to chop into this Bastillodon. It won't take him long to finish the job. So you're going to see the Lizardmen starting to retreat the Bastillodon, but it can't run away. Archaon does have the speed advantage on every Lizard unit left. They were obviously probably just hoping to buy time and try and get the Star Chamber Guardians over here to try and help cut through Archaon along with these Saurus Spears. And there are a lot of enemy troops here, and you can see them all blobbing in to fight Archaon, which they kind of have to do. If they fight him alone, it's a lot less efficient. But I think they're forgetting something, that when you blob up on Archaon, you leave yourself open to burning heads, and worse yet, piercing bolts of burning, which in this particular layout is going to be extremely devastating. So Archaon brings in the piercing bolts of burning and destroys every unit here except for the cohort of Sotek, his old nemesis here, which have been running around. The Chameleon Skinks are now out of ammo. And some of these Lizard units are very close to shattering. 2 of them did. And more could as Archaon continues to be near their presence here. And then, like right there, he rolled right back through them. So this is a very, very bad situation for the Lizardmen. They got blobbed up, and Archaon was able to get multiple hits in one. Look, he's going to bring in a Burning Head here, too. I think the cohort of Sotek was attempting to retreat away from him, but then just really wasn't able to in full. So they're now down to, they have 27 unit models, but they only have 243 hit points, which means basically anytime Archaon lands a hit, unit models are going to die. So he's down to 24 already. So each unit model has very few hit points. But, I mean, you can see that the splash damage on Archaon isn't absolutely obscene. Not at all. So he's still taking damage, and that's a lot of Skinks to be left with that many hit points. It means each one of them has sometimes less than 10 hit points. So we're talking about Skinks who are extremely damaged at this point. Extremely damaged. So he's going to get his Slayer of Kings back. He's going to start dealing additional damage. Not that he really needs it to kill Skinks with less than 10 hit points. But you can see at this point, they are going to try and chip away at Archaon, but he's just very difficult to damage. That high melee defense is really going to play out well, and there's just not going to be enough Skinks to chop him down. An impressive showing by the Cult of Sotek, no doubt. Look, you can see there when they finally do land some hits, it's pretty good, but they're losing all their unit models, and they will lose the battle. This is going to be kind of an epic finish here between the Lizards and Chaos. You're going to have like almost no one that survived the battle. It's going to have been very bloody. Khorne will be pleased. There will have been blood for the Blood God and skulls for the Skull Throne for those who demand it. And Archaon's bosses do demand it. So yeah, it's going to have been an extremely close battle and a fun one. I enjoyed this one. Let's go ahead and fast forward here because I think we all can see how this one's going to end. It comes down to the final Skink, and Archaon gains the Pyrrhic victory. So appreciate Stormrunner sending this one in, and I appreciate Red Rain Umbrella for providing a fun battle here in fighting Stormrunner. And if we take a look here, Archaon got 5,838 damage value. He knocked out 2 Bastillodons, firebombed a bunch of infantry. He had, I think, at least 3 burning heads, maybe 4 during it, and a Slan Mage. So he took out 3 single entities, 2 of which were monsters. I don't know if the Slan Mage counts as a monster, but they got 3 single entities, basically in their entirety. And then also took out a ton of infantry, had 240 kills when it was all said and done. This is a very impressive performance by Archaon. His Exalted Hero, I don't know where he gets the title Exalted from. He didn't actually do that much in this battle. The Chosen, one of them barely paid for itself, or got close to paying for itself here. The other one didn't, because it was fighting cheaper infantry. So it just goes to show you that that can be a challenge here. Only 18 kills on one of the Chosen. I believe this is the one that was fighting the Star Chamber Guardian, so it didn't actually do all that well versus the Star Chamber Guardians in terms of price. I guess this could be the one that was fighting the Star Chamber Guardians, but I don't think so, because one of them cut through a unit of Temple Guards and some Saurus before it came over to help the other. So I'm assuming this is the one that was fighting the Star Chamber Guardians. Decent value out of the Lancers. It wasn't too bad. And then I don't think you can ever go wrong with some Poison Warhounds. They give you some nice speed, and they combine very nice with Chaos Knights with Lances. And it's a very cool combination. So I appreciate Stormrunner sending this one in. It was fun to watch, and hope you all enjoyed it. I love making these videos for you, and there will be more. I do apologize that this week has been a little slow on content. It's just very busy at my day job, and I had some technical difficulties going on. Some of the few chances I had to sit down and record, I had games crashing, I had files get corrupted, I had my ISP throttling my upload on certain days. It was just kind of a mess. But I'm back, and I'm making some extra videos, and I think the weekends, I think I've told you all previously, I may or may not upload stuff on the weekends because I'm kind of taking a break with family. This week, because I was so behind, I'm recording some extra stuff today, and I will have you videos over the weekend. Anytime I have the extra time to record, I will make videos ahead of time and give them to you all on the weekend because it doesn't require me to work on the weekend and take time away from family. But yeah, so I'll do what I can for you. Hope you all are enjoying it. If you did enjoy the video, make sure and get down there and hit that like button. And then, of course, subscribe if you want to see more. We're going to have lots of great replays. We're coming up on Game 3 early next year, hopefully, barring any further delays. And it should be very interesting from a battle standpoint, and I would love to see you all there. HeirofCarthage signing out for now, and I will see you soon.